Hey everyone. Naman this side. So you would be wondering what this guy would be gonna do today. He has been so lazy. He is not doing anything and he is just coming back again. Yeah, that's true. That's I am coming back again just to hold on my persistency, and let's start what we are building on. And we are, I think, building on today observability, Grafana stack, Loki. I don't have any idea. Like, I have actually idea, like, okay, what is Loki? Like, let me tell you, I haven't done anything before this on the Loki stuff, and I am iterating what I know about Loki. So Loki is like kind of a logger. So you have multiple applications, multiple logs are generating. Okay, so suppose like VM is there, like there is a Nginx server, there is a Flask application, multiple Flask application containers, Docker, System D, lot of cron jobs and all. So there are multiple things. Cron job is a very particular thing like that I had been using for updating the mirrors so that my website is getting updated. So my website is actually based on a real-time GitHub repo. So yeah, lot of GitHub repos. So it's need to be getting updated. So it's like, okay, cron job can be like there is one option called GitHub Actions. You can do post commit pipeline jobs that's already there in place, but still to be sure and nothing. Like there are a lot of things I can't make every time a pipeline, so I can obviously do scheduling using logger, like see cron jobs and log everything and see if it's in case anything, any failure happens or any unfortunate incident happen. Like suppose my one of the thing is like my Docker containers used to um, shut down abruptly, and I don't have any clue regarding it. So what can I do? So that's why I am planning to start a series on understanding Grafana, Loki's stack, and discuss with you about what are the pros, cons, and how can we implement in our life term stacks. Yeah. Okay. So I am not connected to internet. Okay, then that's not why. Yeah. So let me start with, okay, Grafana. I don't know anything about, like, okay, is there anything any website that can help me find out member only stories? I know, I think something is there. I forgot the good name of it. I think it's called just a second. Let me just check. I think I do something. So yeah, someone told me it's like called 10 feet or 12 feet ladder. Let me check. 12-foot ladder. Is it allowed? Yeah. I especially think that the people who are writing blogs should not put it like behind paywalls, especially. I am not sure, but why they put uh, it's like a good opportunity. So one way is like I think archive.ph. If it's already there, then I think. Oh, it's there. So I am a bit lucky because I think nowadays archive.ph is not working good. So yeah, Grafana, Loki, all you need to know. That's gonna be an interesting take. So let's start. In our previous blog, okay, there are three main pillars of matrix, traces, and logs. If you haven't gone through it, check out this previous blog, okay. We will check, but I think my main purpose is this currently. So, in this blog, we will focus on logs, one of the most critical components of observability. Why? Because, okay, why are the logs one of the most critical components of observability? You have metrics most of the times are correct and they can depict, okay, something is high utilization, some memory limit has already been crossed, or some IO, or maybe kind of some issue is there. But many of the times, the computer those metrics are not the only way to find out the issues. Like many times, the issues are not covered by those metrics. These are covered by in application logs, or maybe something that bad happened. Yeah, some edge cases that you won't be able to recognize unless someone has did this. So in this case, I think logs are the pillar. So yeah, so there is one visualization pillars. So uh, pillars of observability. So you have a house, and this house is standing on three pillars. One pillar is traces, one is logs, and one is metrics. So we would be focusing on the logs, one of the most critical components of observability. Yeah. If the pillar is gone, then the house will fall down. Okay. So specifically, we'll explore Grafana and Loki, a powerful, cost-effective log aggregation system. So logs we will be using. So this logs is made by a contractor that whose name is Grafana Loki. They are supplying this. Okay. Yeah. So it's a very high cost effective log aggregation system. So like what I was doing till now, like in reality, like okay, someone has done, like if anyone comes to my website, I am getting the username through Microsoft authentication, and I was is storing in a person's email ID dot log kind of file and just tracking, okay, what kind of thing the person has done. And so I think yeah, so there are a lot of issues in that. First thing is like, okay, I am storing from a long duration of time. So yeah, it's not like it's a text file, like, so no good input or output can I can retrieve easily. Like if I had to debug, it's like a bit difficult for me. Also, like the storage is like I need to run something cron job or something to truncate, so truncation and all. So this there are things like there are a lot of things like these are the things that you can do it manually, like the naive way, but those when they are done using some kind of UI structures like Grafana or Loki or maybe some kind of Elasticsearch, then you would be optimizing the experience, the performance, the thing that people want. So one of the things like that I learned in my college was okay. There was like whenever assignment was given, there are two kind of like there are three kind of groups in a class. Okay, so first is okay the assignment they are not able to do, like okay. Second one is just they had achieved the minimum baseline of like what the assignment. And the third group, that was a group of the toppers, they were doing the best out of the best, so like they were finding out the ways to so that their assignment can achieve some kind of dignity or like you have okay if you are given a kind of relative grading, right, you won't want them to leave a chance of getting missing a 10 out of 10. So people generally sometimes prefer relative grading, and generally many a times I think the people see only the baseline and they wanted to just go above this threshold. But the toppers don't care. The toppers have a mindset of winning. That's why they win. And this is what I learned one of the things in the college. So in this blog, we will focus on log. So one of the native way for me, one of the naive way for me. Yeah. So specifically, we will cover yeah. So person's name in kind of a file system or some kind of a database. We will be covering Loki architecture, its components, and how it effectively manages logs in a microservices. So why we will understand what problem does Loki solve. Okay, Loki is designed to store logs for long-term analysis at effective cost. Loki is designed for storing log for long-term analysis. Okay. Store logs for long-term analysis at effective cost. So small indexes plus high compressed chunk size. One more thing is like okay, Loki is not containing full log. Loki doesn't means like full logs that I was doing. So it contains Loki contains only metadata indexes. Metadata indexes. So it's scalable, and it uses some Grafana for visualization and alerting. We will now dive into how Loki achieves this efficiency while providing powerful features like alerting insights from Grafana dashboard. We will see how Loki receives the log data, convert that into index and chunk. Okay, so Loki's architecture is okay. So Loki, I think, has some particular kind of agents. Agents means actually agents is a recently word. I think I use agents generally for like okay, a system that does an activity plus it has intelligent. Agent is kind of a system that does kind of activity. So prompt tail, prompt lot of agent it has, and like kind of those agents are clustered to our distributors where it has like some kind of pipeline to ingest, and it will write into some DB. Okay, and DB is storing indexes and chunks, and that we can have a query where we have query front end and that indexes and like the person can search. So Grafana format is okay, log format. Kind of I like this diagram. Okay, so additional log messages with same labels are label of this to the same chunk. So generally, what does Grafana uses? Right, Grafana divides into two parts. One is like a label and label key, and second is the hash value. So label key is like kind of a unique index that defines unique index or like something that particularly classifies a particular object. Okay, printer, and it's located in a 3b, and it has this errors. Okay, so what kind of errors can be coming to that? So it's like okay, so it has a label key value, like it has a stream id. So there is some stream id, and there is some log entry. Okay, so a lot of log entries come and okay and get stored into that. So suppose like in this 12 o'clock it's reached. My camera is like was alerting me. Yeah. So you have suppose a printer at 1C, a printer at 3B, or a printer at like okay, a printer at USA. You have a corporate office, a printer at India, a printer in Singapore, printer in UK, printer in Australia. Okay, you have multiple printers, and you are like getting not you are. You are kind of getting a lot of entries and logs of like a lot of informations and so suppose the printer printed this, and here the printer printed this, here the printer got an error. In Australia the printer was switched off, like something on different level kind of error. So yeah, so here like all the logs are compared. So there we divide more granularly, and we store those logs individually. We will do chunking and compress and then store. So a separate small index is set up to look up chunks. So these are called chunks, and they have a separate lookup index. Yeah, so basically, like what I was doing was I was dividing on the email ID, right? So for me, email ID, okay. So like for email ID now, email ID plus some success keys. So email ID plus success I am putting. So it's like a more granular or like more kind of classification you are doing, and then storing all the particular things there. So different label keys values will hash to a different stream and different chunk. Yeah. Loki only indexes metadata. So what does Loki do? Loki indexes metadata. Loki indexes metadata. So metadata stream we are doing and finding out the when the metadata is like the keys we are and doing we are doing the hashing and finding out the stream ID something, right? So that's not the entire content of logs. So metadata is what get indexed and can be controlled by prompt tail. Scraper agent. Oh, that scrape configuration labeling. I don't know but why gRPC is there, but gRPC is always in the count. So HTTP listen port is there. I know what is the HTTP, and okay, HTTP port it is listening at this, okay, 9080. gRPC listen port 0, okay, position file name temporary position YAML, okay, time royal, okay. I don't know what the hell it is doing. What the Oh, okay. So metadata, like, okay, so we are doing some kind of hashing, right? That's true. So that kind of hashing is actually we are doing some kind of hashing. Yeah, yeah. Naman, you are doing some kind of hashing. So that hashing is actually controlled by that hashing is actually controlled by so prom agent is actually storing that hashing. So prom agent is directly storing. I think Loki doesn't comes into picture. So prom agent is only the person that is controlling all the things. The contents of all the streams are stored in chunk grouped at time interval based on chunks and both different sets of label will hash to different streams and chunks. I hope till now you understood how Loki formats the log content. I will give you overview. Promptel sends the log data to Loki with configured metadata distributor. So Promptail sends log data to Loki with plus configured metadata. Yeah, so Loki is the driver, and after Loki, Loki, there are some distributors in Loki that receive the logs and forward it to Loki ingester. An ingester divides the log to log division, log indexing. Logs indexing means only meta and chunks and stores in object store. Now stores. Okay. Prompt Grafana agent front ID collect logs from machine. So distributors logs are then published to Loki distributors by the agent. Once the distributor received a set of streams in HTTP request, each stream is validated for correctness to ensure that it adheres to the global configured tenant. Okay, okay. Some kind of validation happens in the distributor side, such as stream size or logs. Each stream is replicated according to replication factor set and then sent to multiple ingesters for pushing the log content. Hmm. Distributor requires acknowledgement from at least floor, at least that they receive the data. Otherwise, an error is thrown. So there are multiple distributors, I think, and there are multiple distributors sending to multiple ingesters. So ingester is responsible for persisting data and shipping it to long-term storage on the right bit while also returning recently ingested in memory log data for queries on the read path. Uh, so pointing, joining, active, leaving, unhealthy. The ingester is responsible for dividing log data into indexes and chunks. The storage occurs in primary two ways: single storage happen in single store. Loki index and chunks. So both index is stored and chunks are stored. So yeah, that is TSDB and some bold DB are there. Bold DB, bold DB is cheaper. It allows you to run Grafana without relying on no SQL stores for it. Instead, it really stores the index in bold DB files and ship them into shared. It also syncs the bold DB file to a local configuration cluster with the same local cluster. This setup redundancy, save past, I don't know, self-hosted instance, local Cassandra. I still remember, like my one of my friend, like I was in Geo, right? So my friend was working on some Cassandra, and I was just working on writing API calls. Yeah, I don't know, but really, like what kind of API calls I am doing, and I don't know really things. Loki charge the index based on the configure. The default for bold DB folder is created in the ingester in memory. Oh, so these are all the writing part. Okay, the now read part. The reader, we have the query front end, and query scheduler. And deeper into logging configurations. That's a good blog. Actually, I like this blog, and I would recommend anyone going through initial stage, right? Go through this blog. I would really recommend. So this one is the link. I don't know it will be allowed or not. Let me put it. But maximum can happen. Okay. Let me praise this guy also. I really like the blogs of him. Sai Krishna Pally. Oh, who is there? Oh, is it? No, 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 no. Online, I think something. Yeah. I don't know, something I see something good. This is a male moto guy, right? I think so. I met him. Oh. Oh, trace is actually the path of the as you follow the request. So it moves to different part of the system. How the services interact. Oh, okay, that is super. That's good. Black box. That's good. That's good. Grafana, Loki, and I needed to. This is also a good blog. So if you are looking for like an introduction to observability, read this blog. It's really good. I like this blog. So thanks, Sai Kiran Pickly. I am truly grateful for your Grafana help and Loki help, like to understand me, and I you will try to use the learnings that I got from you in the upcoming implementation that I will do for my company. That's really great. And okay, so let us go to back to this. So I have done this path and okay. Look, it's a concise guide to labels in Loki. Okay, yeah. So till now, okay, the things were okay. Like okay, these are like a system. Now system is made, but system has some kind of a parameters, right? How you define a system. So in simple words, you have a model. Okay, you had train a model, but this kind of model, the model is good, really good. You had taken hyperparameter, but suppose if I tell you I would be giving you the same model in much faster rate with a more better hyperparameter, what would be your thoughts? Your thoughts will be, hey Naman, how can I get those hyperparameters? Yeah, that was my thought. Like, how can I get those labels? And the answer is here. A few months ago, I how labels work in Loki. This guy is like making me crazy. Like Ed Welch, you are like one of the best writers, I think, in the currently. Grafana Labs has like a truly amazing fellow. I truly love his blogs. For the majority of the first year that we worked on a Loki project, and the questions were feedback seemed to come from. Oh, oh! I haven't shared my screen. Really, I didn't know about this. Let me share. I was thinking, okay. Okay, okay, that's interesting. So first time I had been alive for like 36 minutes and I am continuously talking, and you guys be wondering what this guy is really doing behind the scene. Okay, yeah, no one is there to see me live, and I think it's the best chance for me to start. Okay, so yeah. Am I visible? Yeah, okay, it's visible. I am clearly visible. So, how labels in Loki can make log queries faster and easier? The question was like this only. Okay, I had been storing all the logs of the people in like person's dot email ID, and but does if someone says, okay, Naman, can you tell me what I have done? I had done a release yesterday. Okay, can you Naman tell me like what kind of release? So to give you a context, like we have some kind of thing like GitHub tagging, right? So generally in for companies we kind of say okay, our release means a tag. Like kind of in our scenario it is like that. So yeah. How labels in Loki can make log queries faster and easier. For the majority of the first year that we worked on the Loki project, the question and feedback seemed to come from more people who are familiar with Prometheus. Okay. After all, Loki is like Prometheus but for logs. Recently, however, we are seeing more people trying out Loki who have no Prometheus experience, and many are coming from systems with much different strategies working with logs. This brings it up with a lot of questions about one very important Loki concept that even Prometheus experts will want to learn more about: labels. Labels are the things that we index. The labels are the things that constitute and make up metadata, and on the metadata only we are doing indexing. So you would be wanting to get the query as faster as possible and as easier as able to visualize, because Grafana is for visualization. So what is a label? Labels are key value pairs and that can be defined as anything. We like to refer them as metadata to describe a log stream. If you are familiar with Prometheus, there are a few labels you are used to seeing, like job instance. And I will use this in the coming example. The scrape configs that we provide with Loki define this label. So if we are using Prometheus, having consistent labels with Loki and Prometheus is one of the Loki superpowers, making it incredibly easy to correlate your application metric with the log data. Okay, so one more thing is like, okay, if you are using Prometheus and if you are using Loki, then try to use same kind of labels for incredibly easily correlating your application metrics with log data. Labels in Loki perform a very important task. They define a stream. Yeah, labels in a Loki define because like suppose if your labels is actually a key value pair. So multiple key value pairs make a kind of a metadata, and you do some kind of hashing or something to make a hash, to make a stream, label a stream, and that you will be using for indexing. If just one level value changes, just create a new stream. Yeah. So if you are familiar with Prometheus, the term used there is series. However, Prometheus has an additional dimension metric name. No metric name, just labels. So we decided to use streams instead of series. Okay. So scrape configs. Let's take an example. Scrapes config. Scrape configs. Job name, system, pipeline stages. I don't know what does pipeline stages job name system does. Static configs. Targets, localhost. labels, job, path. So this will contain. I don't know what is targets, localhost, and job name. Job name system is can be repeat or yes. Pipeline stages. I don't know what is it. The hell it is. Static configuration. Static configurations are that where we define the labels, and label is actually here only one job syslog. So you can query it like this. This will create one stream in a Loki. Now let's explain with an example. So jobs is log job Apache. So there are two kind of this like configuration logs. One is like Apache log. One is syslog. Now we are tailing two files. Each file gets one label with one value. So Loki will now storing two streams. So we can query, okay, job Apache. Show me the log where job label is Apache. Job. Show me the label where job label is syslog. Okay. Job. Not of. Show me a log where job is J or syslog. In the last example, we use a regex label method to log stream that can be used. Now consider how an additional label could be used. Scrape config job system. Okay. Job syslog environment dev. Job system pipeline stages job Apache environment dev. So now instead of regex, we could do this env dev on all logs in this case. Hopefully now you are starting to see the power of labels. Yeah, okay. Mm, Yeah, that's true. That's gonna be a good thing. Labels are the indexes of logics log data. They are used to find a compressed log content which is stored separately as chunks. Every unique combination of labels and values define a stream and logs a stream based up compressed. For Lokis to be efficient, cost effective, we use labels responsibly. The next section we will store in more detail is cardinality. Okay, so the two previous example use a statically defined label with a single value. However, there are ways to dynamically define labels. Okay, it looks like let's take a look using Apache log and a massive regex. You could use a parsed log line. Oh, so job system, IP, user, timestamp, action. So I think pipeline stages is actually dynamic labeling. Pipeline stages is actually used for dynamic labeling, and static config is used for static labeling. This regex matches every component of log line and extract the values of each component in a gap. Inside the pipeline code, this data is placed temporarily data structure which allows users to several purposes during the proposing of which can be found here. From that trajectory, we could be using to most of the capture to get an action post. Oh, okay. Hmm. Thousand of streams. Oh. So why you should not use IPA? I was doing kind of image, right? So this is high cardinality. When we talk cardinality, we are referring to combinations. Cardinality is actually the combinations of labels, values, so that number of streams they can create. High cardinality is using labels with a range of large possible values such as IP or combining many labels if the high cardinality मतलब huge index, right? Because you are dividing into a lot of things. Tiny flushes, so a flush करता है thousands of tiny chunks. Object store tool Loki currently performs very poorly in this configuration. Optimal Loki performance with parallelization. You may be asking if you're using lot of labels or labels with lot of values, but how am I supposed to query my log? None of the data is index. As we see, people using Loki are accustomed to order heavy index. It seems like they feel obligated to define a lot of labels. What is this mean by obligated? Obligated means obedience something. They mean compel. Okay, I am compelled. I have to define a lot of queries. After all, other logging sessions are all about index, and this is a common way of thinking. When using Loki, you may need to forget what you know and look to see how problem can be solved. Loki's superpower is breaking up queries into smaller pieces, dispatching them in parallel so that you can query huge amounts of log data in a small amount of time. Loki superpower is breaking up queries into small pieces. Oh, okay. Instead of that, use filter instead of IP, right? By field static levels are good. That's true. This will be fixed for a given query and have bounded values. Static levels make it easier to query for logical sense. Use filter. Brute force it works fast. It's a good blog. Read the blog and make some notes on this. Share with me. Yeah, I would really recommend to you guys. I like this blog a lot. This is a good blog on Grafana. So the concise guide to labels in Loki. A few months ago, I wrote in depth in an article describing how labels work in Loki. I will just come back in just 5-10 minutes. In a small nap.